Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back. And if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. So it's starting to get a little bit warm here and I am totally feeling summer. So I am starting off with this red and pink grungy vinyl that I got from 311 Co. And I am also going in with a slim koozie that I got from the Tipsy Magnolia. I will link both of those in my description. I went ahead and measured out the size that I needed this vinyl to be to cut it and put it over the tumbler. I'm going to be using this vinyl as a template for the glitter that I'm going to be putting on this peekaboo. And I am using the hinge method to apply it, which I normally do. Sometimes I use a large squeegee. This is such a small tumbler that I just went ahead and just used my fingers to go ahead and apply all of the vinyl. Like I said, I'm going to be covering the entire thing in glitter, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do try to get it as close as possible. So once I have that on there, I'm just going to cut off where it meets up at the end. And this was a reminder for me to change my blade because it just didn't want to cut. So remember, always use a fresh blade before you're cutting any vinyl. So I am going in with 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Fast Set Epoxy, which I do have a discount code for, which I will have linked in the description. And I'm just going to go ahead and get this all sealed on here. I'm going to let it spin for 4 hours before I start working with the glitter. That way, if anything goes wrong, I have it all set. I decided that I really wanted to cover the seam of this because they were two very contrasting colors side by side. So I just took some Violet Vixen from Woody's Goodies and a little bit of Senorita Magenta from one of the companies that I got on Amazon. I can't remember which one it is. And I just used a sea sponge to go ahead and apply it. I will say that the Violet Vixen is way more pigmented than I was planning it. It was the first time that I've used it. So now I'm taking some 91% alcohol and I'm just going to kind of like dilute it a little bit and try to pull some of that up. This is 100% why I sealed the vinyl with the epoxy before I started this process. So I wiped off a bunch of it and then I just used a sea sponge to kind of spread it around and make it all blend into the rest of the tumbler. And then I'm going to put it off to the side, let it dry. Now I'm going to go in with some more of my Fast Set Epoxy. I'm going to be applying the glitters here, so I don't want there to be too much epoxy on here. So I probably put about 5 mLs of my epoxy on here. I'm just going to get it spread all out, let it sit for just a minute, and then I'm going to start going in with all of my neon glitter colors. I decided to just go ahead and apply the glitters right here as the tumbler is spinning, which means you have to work cautiously. I was trying to really keep the glitters contained to their color. I'm starting off with Lemon Drop from Rae Creations. In fact, all of the glitters that I'm using for this part of the tumbler are from Rae Creations, which I do have a discount code of LBC15. This is Hypnotic. This one had a couple of very, very small spots, so I did stop the spinner for just a second just to really hit those spots. Once I have that on, now I'm going into a mini chunky, which is Cool Beans. It was just the right purpley pink that I needed for a large amount of this particular piece of the vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and just carefully place those where I want it to be. I'm just kind of going in slowly with it just to kind of set up how I want it to look. Now I'm going in with Lisa, which is my hot pink. There's also going to be a lot of Lisa on here. And I'm just, like I said, taking my time with this. Next, I'm going in with Sherbert, which is one of my favorite neon glitters. I don't know why, but I just love how this sherbet looks on a tumbler. Snorkel is the light blue that I'm going to be using. And I'm hitting that. There's not a lot of blue on here, so this I did not need to use a lot of it. And then the last thing is going to be Mojito. There's not nearly enough green on here. I wish there was a little bit more green, but this had more green on it than the rest of the vinyl. It's just my favorite color. So now I'm just going to keep going in again and just applying it and filling in any extra spaces and really giving it that sparkle that I was going for when I decided to make this tumbler. Now I'm going to go ahead and just remove the tape from the bottom of it. I definitely don't want that to dry with the epoxy on there. That would be a whole thing then. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this spin for about 4 hours until it's completely dry, and then we're going to get some more epoxy on here and get it sealed up. All right, now I'm going in with 15 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I will go ahead and let this spin for about 2 hours, and then I'm going to go in with another 10 mLs and get this completely smoothed out so that we can start working with the Peekaboo. As I was watching it spin, I decided that I didn't want to cover the entire tumbler. This glitter is just way too beautiful. So I decided that about 2 inches of it was going to be just exposed at the bottom, and then I would do the Peekaboo in the white on the top. It adds a really cool look to it, and you can really see the glitter come through on the bottom portion. So I'm just taking some painter's tape and then just going to go ahead and cover that. Now I'm going to take some of the different vinyl pieces that I cut out. They are really, really small, thin pieces. So instead of using the stencil vinyl, I decided that I wanted to print it out on permanent vinyl. Normally when I'm doing a Peekaboo, I don't work with permanent vinyl, but I really wanted all of the design to be really crisp. So I knew that this was going to give me the best look. So I found this design, the drink in my hands, toes in the sand. I found it on Etsy. I'll go ahead and I'll link it. This is going to be a summer koozie, so this was just like the perfect saying and really, really set the tone for it being a summer design. So, and then I also found on Creative Fabrica some flip-flops and some hyacinth flowers. So I just went and set these up, printed off different sizes, and I printed off a ton of it. This was actually just the first sheet. I did print out a second sheet, which I did wind up using on the tumbler itself. But I'm just going to go ahead and get all of this SVG cleaned up and then start getting this applied to the tumbler. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my transfer tape here and get all of this applied. Like I said, other than the center one, and I decided to have it facing at the spot that was completely the opposite of where I did the alcohol ink. This was the most true to the original design color-wise, so that's why I decided to have it be the main portion of it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start placing all of the flip-flops and flowers, kind of just no rhyme or reason, all over here to make the Peekaboo. And now that I have that all applied, I did spray 2 coats of just white matte spray paint. I really wanted the white to be super crisp, which is why I went with 2 coats on here. I let that completely dry for a while, and now I'm just going in and removing all of this. This one does take a little bit of time to remove because, like I said, there is such small detailed lines on here. I do show you where I'm doing a couple of them, and then I'll just finish it up off camera and then get over to the main decal. This is where it really paid off that I use permanent vinyl. I will say that I got this all done within a short period of time because the longer the permanent vinyl is applied to the tumbler, the more it's sticky when you go to remove it. So I wanted to get it removed as soon as possible. But when you start seeing these letters and how thin they are, and you can completely read what the wording is once I peel that off, I knew that I had a successful peekaboo. Now that that's all done, I'm going to go ahead and get another coat of epoxy, and I decided to add a little bit of shimmer to the white spray paint. So I'm just going in with this glitter additive that I got from Coral Tumblers from Nicole Sutherland, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the epoxy, get that applied. And by adding this, it did not take away or change the glitter of the sparkly glitter that's all underneath all of the neons. It just added a little bit of a more of an element to the white spray paint, which is exactly what I was going for. So I'm going to go ahead and let this spin for 4 hours. I then decided to add a little bit more detailing by taking the rest of the black permanent vinyl, the little SVGs of the flowers and the flip-flops, and I just went ahead and placed them sporadically all over the tumbler just to make it cohesive and to get those used up. I also put a striping detail line in between the white and the glitter just to finish it all up. And then I'm going in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I let that spin for 4 hours, sand it down, and then go in with 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Artist Cure resin. I'm going to let that finish up for 8 to 10 hours, and then here is the finished product. It turned out so good. I love how this looks. It just screams summer. It is definitely waiting for a sparkling beverage to be in it. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you all next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.